Hi and welcome to my plant channel Fertilization Black. Today I will be talking about the care of a beautiful orchid that is called Paphiopedilum delenatii. It's not this one precisely, but this one is one of its hybrids. And this is part of a CareCollab. This CareCollab was organized by Fernanda, and several channels are participating, and they are orchid growers that live around the world that can tell you how they grow these orchids with different setups. So don't forget to check those videos. I will put the link to those channels in the description below. Now, starting with the care of this beautiful orchid, well, of the parent of this beautiful orchid, I will tell you that it's a very easy orchid to have and it doesn't fuss much compared to other Paphiopedilums. I have had it now for about 2 years and it has flowered twice for me. Let me actually show you the orchid. So this, as you can see, is my Paphiopedilum delenatii. I actually grow my orchid in organic medium, and for this I mix more or less 40% of sphagnum and 60% of bark that is like small braid. It's very small pieces of bark, so not very chunky. They are like half centimeter in size, and that is because this orchid is basically terrestrial. That doesn't mean that you can grow them in very heavy soils, because still it's an orchid that needs aeration in the roots, but mediums that still keep some air and actually keep the orchid hydrated will do great for them. In this case, I repotted mine last December, and as you can see, so that means 3 months ago more or less, and as you can see, the roots are already growing in the pot. So this part, like orange root that you see here, is actually a root that developed afterwards. So it is doing quite okay. I have to say that the first fan was way bigger than the second one, but still both of them flowered. My first fan flowered in December from 2021, and my second fan flowered as well last November. So it has also been reliably blooming more or less at the same time. Now it is growing our third fan that is here, but then of course I'm not expecting it to flower soon, since the parent just bloomed last November, and you can see that the fan is really small and it's just starting to develop. But the fact that it is creating new structures is kind of telling me that the orchid is doing well. The leaves don't look dehydrated, and I also haven't lost the first fan, because I don't know if you know, but this type of orchids produce this type of fan, and each fan blooms with a terminal spike that emerges from the center of the orchid. That means that this fan will not flower again, and therefore it produces a new fan that is the structure that flowers next. And after a while, these fans wither off, but now my orchid has kept the last two fans, and I love it because it actually looks very bushy, and I love as well the pattern. So I think it's just very beautiful to look at, even if it's not in flower. Now, talking about care, as I mentioned, I live in the Netherlands, and what I normally do is that I keep my orchids in a room. And in this room, the only thing that I have is supplemented light, because in the Netherlands it's very like the light is very dim, and you have light maybe from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. if you're lucky, because some days are like so cloudy that you have almost no light. So in very cloudy days, I supplement my orchids with light, but I don't do that every day. I just do it, as I mentioned, in winter and just in some occasions. I have this orchid placed next to the window in a northeast facing window. That means that normally you would get a little bit of morning sunshine, let's say, for maybe 40 minutes, maximum an hour. But it has been doing great. It has been producing new fans. It has been flowering. So I think that the orchid is enjoying it. And about temperatures, I keep that room normally between 20 and 25 degrees. Sometimes it can get to 18, but normally I don't let it drop less than that. And normally I don't let, here is relatively cold, so it doesn't go super warm, with exceptions of like maybe 2-3 days a year. So yeah, these conditions are actually good for this orchid because I have seen it growing pretty well. Now I talk about light, I talk about temperature. Now about watering, I like to water my orchid every time that it is approaching dryness. So I put my finger inside of the pot, or you can actually look it as well. And then when the sphagnum moss is almost dry, then I fill the pot a bit, like till the middle, and then basically let it soak, because the sphagnum moss is distributed evenly around the pot. And that's what I do. Then I throw, of course, the excess of water away, and I just monitor it and water it the next time that, again, the medium is approaching dryness. I have to admit that sometimes I have forgotten to water it, and the medium has become super dry, but this orchid is very forgiving, and I haven't had any problems so far. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I didn't water it because I totally forgot about this orchid, and still it's doing good. You can see the roots that are actually doing fine, so it's very forgiving. That doesn't mean to forget about it, but just to let you know that if you're a beginner, or if you really want an easy orchid that doesn't fuss much, I think that this is a perfect candidate. Now, talking about fertilizer, I normally fertilize it from March till more or less September, once every 2 weeks, with 1/4 of the recommended dose of a complete orchid fertilizer that I basically find in my garden center. And in winter, I normally fertilize it about once a month. And that is as well because that's normally how I fertilize the rest of my orchids. So I kind of don't fully adapt my schedule for specific orchids. I just try to do something that works for all my orchids. So basically that's how I do it, and the orchid has been growing actually pretty well. Now, the variant that I have is a cross of two forms that there is. So this is a species, and then you can have like the vinicolor, you can have the alba, and you can have like the regular form. And this one is a cross between the alba and the vinicolor. So you can see that the back of the leaves is very dark, but it's not as much as the vinicolor that has this extra red margin around the leaves. So I have this cross. And something that I would like to say is that I love the flowers, and I also love the texture. So this hybrid kept this texture of the flowers. Like if you touch it, it's like so soft, and it's like very hairy. It has very tiny hairs, and when you touch it, it's just so soft to the touch that I love it. So this is a cross between the vinicolor form and Paphiopedilum Pinocchio, Red Queen. And as you can see, the flower, it literally looks like a mix of both of them, and also the leaves. The pattern and the color looks more like the vinicolor, but like the elongated leaves and a little bit ruffled, that resembles more the Pinocchio. So this is also a very easy orchid to grow. If you are interested in an easy hybrid to grow, I would totally recommend this one, because it's also very forgiving, and it's very pretty. Actually, it's finishing the flowering because I had a third flower coming along that already fell off because it was the oldest flower. But this has been in flower since December, and now, so 3 months in flower and still going. It's incredible. So beautiful, easy going, and long-lasting flower. For me, is ticking all the boxes. Now about fragrance, they say that sometimes they have some type of roses or like flower fragrance, but I haven't detected any, and not in this one or in the other one. So to be honest, I don't know, maybe mine don't have any fragrance. But besides that, they are really a joy to grow. So I will totally recommend you this. Well, I hope that telling you how I grow my orchid helps you grow in yours. And remember, this is a Carecollab, so if this doesn't totally fit your setup or the way that you care for your orchid, you may find some tips and tricks from another channel down below. So check them out. Thank you for watching this video. And remember, if you like the channel, consider to subscribe. And if you think that this video was useful, give me a like and see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.